Welcome to the first unit of the Business Management course, Understanding Business. We are going to start with looking at how small businesses operate and the role of businesses in society. What is a business? When a group of people work together to try and achieve something that they all want, then they have formed an organisation. A business is a particular type of organisation which involves using people and resources in the making of an item or providing a service. As consumers, we buy the goods offered and the services provided by organisations or businesses. We buy these goods and services to satisfy needs or wants. We all have wants. Needs are what people need in order to survive, i.e. your basic human needs. We need shelter, food and water, and clothing. In this day and age, you could argue that access to the internet could also be a basic human need these days. There is very little we can do in a society without the use of the internet, as we have seen during this current pandemic. After basic needs are obtained, people often wish for more. These desires are called wants and they are unlimited. They include needs and other items people want because they are available. These items give consumer satisfaction. We all want a car, the latest iPod or smartphone. We all would rather have a drink of Pepsi than a drink of water. We would rather have a drink of some sort of other fizzy juice. But in reality, we do not need any of those things in order to survive in life. We can carry on without them. In the top right corner, there will be a link to the Business Ed Online website, and it should take you to the Needs and Wants drag and drop game. Have a go and see how you get on. A business is an organisation that is formed to provide goods and services. Goods are physical items that we can see and touch. Another word to describe them is that they are tangible items. For example, we can physically touch the washing machine, the car, the food that we buy. And services are non-physical. We cannot see or touch them. They are also described as being intangible. For example, a trip to the cinema, buying insurance, or receiving services from the bank. We cannot necessarily touch any of these things. That is why they are a service provided to us. In the top right-hand corner, we have another link to the Business Ed Online page, and this time it is a goods and services drag and drop game. Have a go and see how you get on. There are different types of goods that businesses can provide. They can provide non-durable goods. These are items which have a very short lifespan. For the example here, we have got a picture of food. Once you buy food, it does not generally last more than a week or so because you buy it with the intention to eat it and consume it. Another example of a non-durable good is the news, buying a newspaper. As soon as the next day arrives, your newspaper that you bought yesterday is out of date. There is no need for it anymore as the news has moved on. Another example is durable goods. These are goods which have a fairly long lifespan. The example picture we've got here is a car. You buy a car that will last you a long time. Most people have their cars for many years. Other examples around the house would be a computer, a fridge, a washing machine. These are all usually quite high value items, and you would expect them to last for years and not have to replace them often. Businesses have to work to provide goods and services through a process known as production. All production processes are made up of the following three linked stages. We call this the production chain. Stage 1 is the input stage. Stage 2 is the process stage, and stage 3 is the output stage. During the input stage, the business will have to gather its raw materials to put together to create their product. This may involve the people who are going to be building the item. information about it. We might need to do research. We will need money to pay for the items that we want to make. We will need to have a place of premise or a building or a warehouse in which we can create our items. And we also need people to manage the project. At the process stage, a business transforms the raw materials into the good or service that it is producing. The process stage is the most important stage of production because it creates wealth. Wealth is the value of goods or services available. At the output stage, a business will have created the final good or service that it wants to provide. For example, a business making cars will now have their finished working car. However, for many goods and services, the output stage for one business is the start of the input stage for another. This is because production and wealth creation for these goods and services has to be repeated in several different linked businesses before they are finally ready. This is because most businesses do not have the skills or materials to carry out every process required to completely create a good or service. When this is the case, all of the businesses whose production processes are linked together to make one good or service is said to perform a production chain. An example of a production chain needed is how you make bread. So, the farmer will input the seeds. The process is the farming and growing of the seeds, and the output is the wheat. Going back to the input stage, the wheat is sent to the mill. It grinds the wheat down in the process stage, and the output of this is flour. Back to the input stage, flour is sent to the baker. He performs baking and puts all the raw materials together, and the output is freshly baked bread. So as you can see, not always the output stage will be the complete finished good. It may have to go through a few production chains to finish off the product. Production. This is the process of making goods so that they can either be consumed or go on to another stage of production. Consumption involves the purchasing of goods and services. In many cases, it also involves using them up. For example, services and short-life goods, such as fresh foods. The consumption of fresh foods would mean you have eaten them. At every stage of business activity, value is added to a product. Creating wealth occurs at each stage of the production chain. Value is added by each producer, the farmer, the baker, so that the total value will be much more than the total value of the raw materials used. Production creates wealth because the total value of the good or service produced should be more than the cost of the raw materials and factors used to make it. This increases the wealth from production is known as value added, and it can be calculated as follows. Your value added is your output value minus your input value. For example, if a chip shop buys a bag of potatoes for £1 and is able to produce chips that are worth £5, the value added from production is £4, as we take the £5 away from the 1. Production should always aim to create wealth because if it doesn't, then it has been a waste of time and money spent on raw materials and the production used to create it. Developing a good idea is often a very good reason for starting a business organisation. People enjoy the challenge that new ideas bring, seeing a chance for a new product or service, taking the opportunity, making a success of it. An entrepreneur is a person who brings together all the essential ingredients for developing a good idea. Another word for a good idea or an idea for a business is enterprise. This type of person is not afraid to take a business risk in order to achieve a reward. Often these are calculated risks where the entrepreneur will do all they can to minimize the risk. In other words, an entrepreneur will take a risk knowing it could be a great success for their business and really push them forward, or it could cause them a bit of a setback and they would need to rethink their idea. Examples of entrepreneurs are Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, Tom Farmer, the founder of the Quick Fit Garages, and Anita Roddick, the founder of The Body Shop. There are hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs out there, many of which are very famous. Can you think of any other examples? Post in the team's general chat if you can think of any entrepreneurs from the area in which you live in. Developing a business through enterprise. Without the entrepreneur to drive the business forward, the business would not survive. Entrepreneurs bring together the workers, natural and man-made resources, and financing to help make the business a success. They will take calculated risks which minimize the risk of failure while retaining their cutting-edge spirit. Entrepreneurs do not simply invent/bring a product to market and then sit back. They are constantly innovating and moving forward. If you want your business to be a success, you cannot slack off. You need to keep pushing and striving to make it better, take on new opportunities, and hope they pay off. Often, an entrepreneur's business will happen because they have seen a gap in the market. Gaps or niches in the market occur when an entrepreneur produces a new product or service that no one has spotted a need for. This means that they have invented something that will solve daily problems or make people's lives easier.